So the question of whether animators can make Season 3 has been floating around, and it makes sense, right? The more line you have to use, the longer it's going to take to draw. And there's a lot of line here. Also, an average anime episode requires a drawing or two, so how will animators animate all this? Well, it's pretty simple. Take Lord Boros. Pretty detailed guy, right? Well, the further away an image, the less detail your eyes can see. And so you can use long shots. Take this scene by Arifumi Imai. We have a long shot, and if we pause, look how simple his design is. Since the character's so far away, there's no need to add a crazy amount of detail. But when we play it, it looks impressive, because of the great effects work and animation fundamentals at play. Of course, this isn't anything groundbreaking. Look at Murata's work. With Garo here, instead of all the crazy galaxy effects, it's just a flat black shade. And Garo isn't always in front of the camera. Sometimes he's way off in the distance, obscured by smoke or getting bounced around. But what about when the character does get closer? Well, for one, you simplify. Instead of all those crazy veins, the animator in this scene reduces the line count here considerably, with the compositing team adding a texture to illustrate that veiny look. Or you can keep the detail but just animate the character less. Going back to Animator Imai, when Boros does get close to the screen, you have a simple loop of the hair, earring, and aura effects. Everything else just remains still. So with the exception to the latter, it's technically just one keyframe. Again, for dialogue. Instead of character acting, you can just use those classic lip flaps you so often see in anime. Here, there's a stack of detail added, although again, it doesn't move at all, so you obviously don't have to worry about drawing it over and over again. Now, on the opposite end, you can use extreme close-ups that focus on certain areas of the body rather than the full thing, such as with a strike or characters' feet as they move around. At the same time, these different angles can help better emphasize a moment and add variety. Animation would be pretty boring if it was just all framed at the same distance and angle. Now with that said, that's not to say animators can't animate incredibly detailed objects or characters. Take this scene from Gurren Lagann, which also features some crazy battles in outer space with its fair share of galaxy spirals. The animators here are working with pretty complex designs. Or take some of these amazing effects by Hisashi Mori. Now when it does come to animate all this, the obvious guess is CGI, although that creative choice will depend on the director and even the animator. Now at this point you may be like, okay, that's Garo, but how on earth will they handle all this? Well, before that, a little word from our sponsor, and no, it isn't Raid Shadow Legends, although if Paul Monk wants a feature, hit me up. But anyway, it's TIC. Remember Dragon Ball Z soundtrack, guitars blaring and pianos going off? Man, I love that track. Well, they've interviewed Mr. Falconer, but also those in the gaming industry, such as Capcom, Naughty Dog, Blizzard, then to the tech world with Microsoft. TIC is a media production agency that creates both print and video interview content for its clients, whether to raise awareness for brands and business or just to simply highlight personal backgrounds. It provides a range of services from filmmaking to editing and audio transcription. So go check out their website, all links to them will be in the description. But now, back to the video. So all of these crazy backgrounds won't be drawn by animators. Background art is handled by a specialized department, which you probably guessed already, paints backgrounds. And typically background art in a lot of shows is pretty detailed, so having to translate complex manga panels to the big screen is nothing new. And we've seen that in the One Punch Man anime already. The studio that handled the art in Season 1 and a lot of Season 2 was Atelier Musa, and I would say they managed to do that time and time again. And so the task is definitely not out there considering the skill level of the many painters and art directors currently working in the industry. So can they animate Season 3? Absolutely. The quality of the animation though will depend on who the animation team is, the show's producer, series director, and other variables such as scheduling. Will it be a favorable one like the first, or a mess like the second? Well, I certainly hope it's the former, for the sake of avoiding a mediocre adaptation, but most of all the health of the staff themselves. But hey, if you want to know what made One Punch Man Season 1's animation great, and what made the second a little less so, you can check out these two videos I recently did on both. And with that though, thank you for watching, and especially to my patrons. But with that, I'll see you later.